Radio.
The heartbeat of Bangalore.
Hey, welcome to Artist Talk on Bob's Radio. My name is Rio Raymond, and this has been a long time waiting, especially from the time this particular artist who's moved from Bombay. I don't want to say Boston, but US as a whole, and he's trying to make music there and make a ply out of it. And he seems quite excited to have a long chat of all the developments that have happened. Pashwa, welcome once again to Bob's Radio, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Yeah, so I moved from Bollywood to Hollywood. That's exactly what I tell people, and over here that I'm from Bollywood, and I tell people back home I moved to Hollywood. So it's kind of my thing now. That I did like one song for a movie that I called Defective Detectives. I got to work with amazing people. I got the opportunity to get into mainstream Bollywood for the first time with my own music, and to use my voice as the BGM and all of this.
Mhm.
And as soon as that happened, I left. As soon as things started working out for me in Mumbai, I left.
That's something we want to talk about, and also in terms of how it's gone for you in the US. Now, like you said, your things were just bubbling up. Things were just moving in towards you in your direction in Bombay. But before we dive there, let's just give people a little heads up on who Pashwa exactly is. So Pashwa is a hip hop and R&B artist who grew up in Bombay, and he had something going for himself. He did get on to having some really good numbers in terms of streams, in terms of YouTube hits. And just when things were working out in Bombay, usually people would stick around. And there is Pashwa who says, no, I'm going to go to the West and see what I can do because it's predominantly English music. Now, what was the reason? Was it because of the language of choice that you were performing in? Or was it something more than that, what you could get in Bombay that you went after?
it was only and only purpose, and that's a big part of who I am as a person. I'm driven by purpose. For me, I see myself as a. So you must have heard of the term gender fluid, right? So just like that, I'm genre fluid. I don't have like a genre that I specifically stick to or make music in. I've been making music of all kinds since I was age 12. I've been performing in front of crowds as big as 40,000 since I was 12. And this has been one of these days it's going to be an overnight success, but it's been 10 years in the making.
Nothing
So,
is an overnight success, bro. Nothing is an overnight success.
so
It's all the grind that has gone behind. And even the story in Bombay, even if you would go on to win a VMAs or a Grammys or whatever, it's not because of that one song, but it's because of that journey that you had from Bombay or like you said, Bollywood to Hollywood.
absolutely,
That's the journey that's
absolutely.
got you to where you have.
A big part of artists making it today that people don't really realize is not based on solely on skill or how good you sound or how good you are live or how your numbers are.
Right.
Um, I feel like a huge part is your narrative. What is your story? What are you telling people? Like, is your music cohesive with your story? Is your brand cohesive with your story? Is the way you behave cohesive with your story? And when it all makes sense, people kind of realize that you really are this person. And that's when you make a fan out of a person. So that's what I feel. And this journey has been phenomenal. I feel so blessed, beyond blessed. Every single day that I open my eyes, I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm in GTA. What am I about to do today? I'm in Los Santos. You know what I'm saying? So
It's
it's
so
just
glad to hear, the joy in a musician because that will come through their craft as well. And I'm really stoked to just hear the way you speak, man. I
thank you,
remember
man.
the first few times when I heard you, I mean, when I spoke to you, you were just getting things figured out, just finding your foot in the US. But here you are, grateful to what life has brought you, and that's what we're going to talk about. Before we head into the US side of it, now you said you're genre fluid, right? Now, is this something that
That's
happened
correct.
after moving to the US, or was it prior to that?
I had been making all kinds of music prior to that back in Mumbai, and the real ones know I've made music like I made rap music, I made grime music, I made drill music, I made Afrobeat music, I made Hindi music, I made commercial music for Bollywood. So I was already doing all of these things back in Mumbai. But then the thing is, right now, people want to put you in a box so they can kind of understand like exactly who you are. And to be honest, exactly who I am is just an artist. And I don't feel like I have to restrict myself to a single genre because right now, if you look at the way people listen to music, it's completely changed from the way it used to be. No one's a fan of a genre anymore. people just listen to artists that they really like. And a big part of that was the self-acceptance really happened when I came to the US. And, when I met people here and I realized that no one really sticks to one genre as such as an artist, and that versatility is actually strength. I kind of branded myself that way, where I was like, you've heard of genre fluid, but have you heard of I mean, you've heard of gender fluid, but have you heard of genre fluid? So that was just a funny wordplay thing that I had where I could explain people that I'm not really someone you could put into a genre or fit into a box, because I'm trying to be one of the greats. And the greats before me, they did it by doing the greatest that they could have in their genre. Now that's been done. There have been greats in every genre. You could take pop, you could take rock, you could take any kind of genre. There have been greats. But how many people have touched every single genre that there is? So I feel like that's the next big thing, and that's one of my goals right now, is to change the sound of music completely by touching every single genre that there has been, in some way that I can bring a different facet of me within that genre, or represent a different facet of myself, and show it to my fans and my people that, oh, look, here is another genre that I really like listening to. This is the kind of music that I would make in this genre. So just give it to people to listen to. So that's one of
So
those things.
when you said about stories, it's not just about the music that attracts somebody who can become a fan, but it's also a story that you create. Now, we've heard of many stories of people leaving their regulars and safe places or safe environments to go out and try and, go on these challenges in life. And here's one that you're going on. And there is a certain Pashwa that we've heard and seen in the music that you created when you were there. And the Pashwa that is here, it's pretty much the same in terms of genre fluidity. But in terms of musicality, what is the difference?
In terms of musicality, the difference is I'm doing way more collaborations because of the people that are around me. Um, I study at Musicians Institute currently, which is in Los Angeles, Hollywood, and the sole reason for me being here was the collaborations that I would be able to, the connections that I would be able to make. I'm in Los Angeles. This is where people come for the big dreams, right? And the talent is just boundless. I mean, it's insane how many flavors and how many kind of people you meet over here. And it's not just Americans, it's like people from Brazil, Sao Paulo. It's from people from someplace in Ukraine, people from someplace in Switzerland, someone
The
from,
mecca of the world's entertainment business.
absolutely. And that's kind of why I found so many genres and so many people to collaborate with. I was just like, I need to get my hands on everything, a little bit of everything. And um I know that another thing is it's like super it's an amazing community of musicians that they've created over here. So the thing is that musicians are kind of the only people that really understand another musician or another artist, because we have this openness towards life that other people see as like um they just play it off like he's an artist, he's like this. But there is a certain openness you need towards life to be an artist. And I've always been an outsider looking in. Even in Mumbai, the way that I used to operate, people used to think of me as like some kind of character.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like here people are really more perceptive towards me, at least towards how I express myself. People are more open-minded towards accepting that part of it
Right.
specifically. So it's been amazing. It's kind of helped me embrace my own sound in a way. And again, like it really helped with the self-acceptance part of what my music exactly sounds like. So I was kind of trying to put it into a box back in Mumbai, where I was like, oh, I'm like an Afrobeat pop R&B artist. Over here, I'm just an artist. I make all kinds
Right.
of music. I'm an artist, right? I've been making like singer-songwriter music, Americana music. I've been making blues music. I've been making funk music. So there's really no limit to what I can achieve. I've been blending genres. Like the last recent song that I just released was a Hindi DNB song. So that's something that, very few people, you would not hear something like this on a regular basis. And music doesn't really go in that direction, where at least right now I feel like, because of how music is being consumed, mostly like the label music reaches people because of how much strength they have in the numbers with which they push their music, right? compared to an independent artist. But are they really pushing the genres forward? Is there really being art being created, or are they going back to the 80s and 90s for remixes still?
A big question as to what's happening in terms of music and the kind of songs that are coming out with the artists under labels. Because just the other day, I was listening to a song of Billie Eilish, Charlie XCX, and that song lyrics was so classy, right? And then I see that's the kind of way the songs are being made today. And then thank God I shifted my genre, I would say timeline of music, and I started listening to something in the 80s. It made sense because lyrics played such a huge role back in the day, and now it's about just paying heed to a certain trend or a fad, and then you make lyrics on that because it sounds, I wouldn't say abusive, but it sounds a little below the belt, and some people kind of like listen to that. And that's a sad part of music. And also today, like you said, the music is being pushed by labels, and to a certain extent the kind of music that has been made also to listen to is a similar pattern that it's hooked on to TikToks outside of India and Instagram over here as well, where there is a pattern. You can tell that song is trending because of it being pushed on these platforms, and it's got a certain rhythm and pattern, and that sells. Whereas it takes a good song, a good amount of listeners, and a good amount of listens to finally make it. And also, like you said, like the push from the labels is very hard, because sometimes even under the indie playlist on Spotify and many other streaming platforms, you would find label artists and big label artists.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's a hard thing to swallow. But I will tell you one thing for sure, that what you are doing, independent music, is the future. There is technology, everything is around. It's only time you will start seeing yourself make the not just the money, but also in terms of rake in all the benefits that you should in time. And that is our purpose as well, to build on that. Do go a little bit of the old school in terms of radio and media, and I wouldn't say sell, but celebrate these artists, independent artists, because that's the real music that's coming out. And that's one of the reasons why I even started Bob's Radio. And I'm so proud of all the artists that we have. I'm not going to make it sound like I'm the father and my children or such. I don't want to sound like that, but it's more like
No, but I see you take the efforts, man. I know that since this is recording, I would like the people to know that, Bob's Radio reached out to me at least 5, 6 times consecutively over a span of 2 months for me to be able to do this. And even though we had like different time zones, you guys kept making an effort, and kept messaging me to get me on the show, where you're like, okay, what time is it now in LA? What time is it now in Mumbai? What time is it now in LA? And we were going back and forth with that. Yeah, man, it's genuinely an honor to be on your talk show, on your radio, and
being a part of it, man.
I really feel like the independent artist movement is happening right now. A big reason is the mega companies like the streaming services and the DSPs. They're all trying to, there is a very obvious, shift happening over here, and it's just that artists are really vulnerable, and so they tend to get exploited way more than say a record label would. A record label with like a team of 25 lawyers, and a DSP which is like a multinational. They're probably not as protected as artists. So that kind of goes to show why things have gone the way that they've headed in, the direction that they've headed in. And I feel like artists are realizing that this is unjust. And when you keep people oppressed for a long time and you push them with their back behind a wall, they're
That's
gonna
the
fight back. You should always give people an out. You should never push them back to the wall, because then it's gonna be fight or flight, right? And another reason as to why this movement is happening that I see worldwide and over here the most, like I'm seeing that everyone's creating their own labels. Like myself, I created my own label, and I've like created my own brand, my own company, because artists are realizing that we as people, we don't need middlemen.
right.
You know, if the law of business is cut out the middleman, and that's what the DSPs and the labels are trying to do. I mean, that's exactly what the streaming services are trying to do. They're trying to cut out the middleman. So I mean, I think it's fair enough. Like it's high time for the artist to cut out the middleman and go direct to consumer, direct to source, go with physical, go back to the old ways of how music was presented, or go into a new, completely new era. But one of these things is definitely happening, because neither do we make money from streaming, nor do we make money from, if we get a record label deal, it's more debt. People don't realize that it's more debt. You're just taking a big loan. And that loan is going to be like, if it's a 360, then they're going to take from everything you have,
Yeah.
you know? which it usually is when you're an artist breaking into the industry, and people need to study their music, like they need to study their business, music business. And they like artists need to like be so aware right now. You need to be a businessman to be a good artist, right?
They say there's an evolution of sorts in every timeline. Back in the day, musicians, the rock stars, the biggest of names, they had some amazing managers and record labels that put their music globally. But today, with the kind of reach that we have with the internet, it's only time that artists started looking at their craft as a business than just a craft alone or an art alone, because that is the need of the hour. And I know a lot of artists, some of them struggle to put, and to make ends meet, to put the bread on the table with just music alone. They have to look at trying other things as well. But nothing in life comes easy. I don't want to sound very pessimistic towards the artist, but because I believe an artist can definitely make a change in the world, whether through music, whether any form of art form. And that's why I've always believed that, when the artist is putting their craft out there by themselves, there's more value to it. That's the story of the artist coming out, and that's the craft of the artist that's coming out, not through an
100%.
mediating channel. So that's one of the things where I believe that, people like you will create a difference in the future in terms of music. Now, this has been too much of a serious talk. Let's dive a little bit into the music that's coming out with you. So,
Fantastic.
happening in terms of collaboration, what are the kind of songs? How much have you released? Because we feel like, I've just left. We're catching up after a while, man. Like, I feel like I don't know what's happening. What's happening, Pashwa, in
Oh,
terms
of course. I'd love to catch you up with whatever has been happening. I just released a couple of singles. One of them was called Come Through and Come Through Slowly. The next one was I Don't Wanna Lie. So I Don't Wanna Lie is a song that speaks to the narrative of breaking free from a toxic relationship. It's got this kind of cathartic tension and release. So this is a Hindi English DNB song. I haven't heard another song like it. So I'm trying to push genres. I'm trying to push forward Indian music and Indian sound with this. Um, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take India's music and put it on an international pop scale right now.
lovely.
So that was kind of one of those things that spoke to me, and I tried to do with both Come Through as well as I Don't Wanna Lie. And I have a few more songs coming out. One of them is with a very young woman, talented woman, is Tanishka Sangvi.
Mhm.
And so we made a song back in Mumbai. It's called Hold Me Down. And so this is again a pop collaboration between Tanishka and I. Another pop collaboration that I have coming out is with another a young talented woman. Her name is Monal. So we have a song called "Gimme That Na Na Na," and this is in the Afrobeat Hindi space. I feel like Afrobeat is where I really conquer because it just feels so natural to me. The songwriting, the style, and the rhythms, all of these things. When I have like an Afrobeat song, like just the beat playing in front of me, the melodies and the rhythms, the lyrics, it all just comes instantaneously to me. And this was just one of those songs that we just heard it, and I mean, we made the song in 1 hour, and it turned out to be such a big hit that we had to shoot a music video for it. And we shot the music video one day before I left for Los Angeles. So it was
Oh, lovely.
crazy hectic. Um, yeah, it was insane. What an experience and what an artist, Monal. Shout out to Monal. Shout out to Tanishka as well. I also have an EP plan that's on the way. This is going to be an Afrobeat EP, and I can't wait for people to hear it because I
You know
feel
what? We
like
can't wait for you to send the music across for us to plug it in, because that's what we're
absolutely.
looking forward to. Now, you have seen the scene in Mumbai. You are part of the scene in LA, in the US, of course. What is the difference in terms of the independent music industry in India and in the US?
This is just out of personal experience when it comes to international music, right? I'll be very specific. There is no more or less opportunity. There is only how much opportunity you create for yourself. And over here, there have been people who've paved the way for international artists to make it. And that's the only reason why I believe that there is more opportunity for international music to blow up from here. Now, the day and age that we're living in, you literally do not need to be in a different country to make it. You can make it right from where you are. And I would say that Hanuman Kind is testament to that. Recently, all over LA as well, his music has been playing, and it's a matter of pride for me as an Indian and as someone who's been trying to break out this international sound. And I've met him, I've met his manager a couple of times at their shows. I saw them do these sneaker events together at AYCS. We had like all of these things together, and I see him as like a peer or someone that is pushing forth the same agenda. So the landscape is changing, and there isn't going to be much difference between the US and Indian music industry soon, because of the amount of influence that the West has on us through social media.
Right.
And another part of it is that, how many times can you use the same old remixes for someone to enjoy that music? We can't keep going back to the 70s and 80s anymore. We need to go forward. And a huge part of that for the Indian music industry is maybe going global with their sound. Till up until now, they've only been catering to the Indian Bollywood audience or the Indian Hindi speaking audience. The regional language songs that they use because of our diverse culture. I feel like once we've kind of exhausted all of these things, we can use those and create a new sound, a sound of the future. So using a base in something that is so ancient and so rooted in our reality, like Hindustani, Carnatic classical, or like which are art forms that I've studied. I used to study Hindustani classical. Using these, crafting the sound of tomorrow is where I see Indian music going. I feel like the international scale is opening up for us, and I feel like brown people don't have enough representation on an international scale yet. And someone needs to speak on that, at least in terms of like pop music or what's culturally relevant right now in the West. We don't have that chokehold on the world yet. I see that it's doable, it's possible, and that's a mission that we're heading towards.
In terms of numbers, of course, the whole world is looking at us because of the numbers that we have in terms of our population. There's a reason why the Speeds are coming, the Logan Pauls are coming in. They're doing content here because these numbers resonate for them in terms of views. And similarly, when you look at people like Hanuman, kind of have the world look at us bringing music out of here. It's testament to like what you just said. It's the world looking back at us, and there's a collaboration of happening in terms of art forms. Back then there was no mediums to explore or exchange of sorts, to educate ourselves from the various cultures that are there in different countries. But today with the internet, everything is accessible, and that's why I think a lot of barriers are going to be cut out. And even like you said, genre fluidity, that is also going to be building up more and more. And there was a time when you could say, okay, there was retro music, but retro music also was about a certain synth wave. Then you had rock, then you had hip hop, then you had R&B. But today, with the kind of diversification and inclusivity we have in terms of musical choices, we're no more empaneled into a certain template of listening to music, saying this is my genre, I'd like to listen to it. Yes, we have certain likes and preferences at certain times, like our favorite genres of sort. But today, because of the inclusivity, I think people are able to explore more genres. And I think the word genre is a little too overused, but listen to music of different styles and classes. So that is a great thing to look forward to. Now, you also mentioned to us about the songs that you have. You also mentioned to us about how the differences in the US and Bombay. Now, let's take a look at the opportunity here for an independent artist, which we did discuss earlier. But from here on, where you are at this point in time, where do you see yourself going? Because you moved from Bombay to LA. Now, from here, the next step is to climb. Now, everybody has like a certain vision for themselves. What's yours like right now?
Man, my vision is the life that I'm living right now. I'm living it vicariously. Being here in itself was a big part of the plan. It was just so many years that I spent in Mumbai. And this is me speaking to the artists in Mumbai. You can make it out, right? And you can stay there and still make it out. There was a shift in like perception and like reality and realization of the fact that you don't need to be at a certain place to make it. Because I'm here to get my education in. I'm here for collaborations. If this is not something you need, or it's something that you can acquire from back home, by all means, you can still make it. Trust me. And for me, the bigger vision is definitely releasing my album over here. I feel like the people that I'm working with over here have been super supportive, super helpful, and super understanding of my vision. And I just feel like these are my kind of people. In lieu of that, I think the next big thing for me is to release my music with music videos shot right here. And the end goal is definitely for me to come back home. You gotta come back home, man. You gotta bring it back home. You can't just come back home. You gotta bring the people that you won over here. You gotta bring them back there, you know? And a big part of that is spoken through my brand called Bombay Ballers Club. So I have Bombay in the first name, the first letter of my brand. It's like the first word is Bombay. Sometimes there has to be someone else that ventures into the dark and paves the way for people, and that's what I'm trying to be for a lot of these kids, because I see so much talent in Bombay. I've heard a lot of people, right? And Mumbai actually has some of the most talented artists I've ever met by far, and they don't even know it yet, right? So what I would say to them is, put your stuff out for the world to see. When you put something out, you're on the world stage. And people kind of underestimate the power of that and what that can do for your life. But honestly, I would just say, if you are creative, if you're really a creative, be creative in the way that you put things out. Be creative, and even with Instagram Reels, I don't want you all to see this as just a means to market yourself. I want you to see this as a means to express yourself. Use everything you have as a creative, because that's the world that we're living in. If you're not creative enough, you're not going to stand out. That's for certain, right? And I'm not saying that it's easy, but I'm saying that if it works out, it's worth it.
There was one
And
creator who created us by expressing himself, and today it's a world of creators. And you rightly put it across by saying that you have to create, to express yourself and create, and only then the creativity flows, and only then can what you create be accepted and celebrated by the ones on the other side. So I'm going to
absolutely.
wish you the best for whatever that is lined up. Hope you bring back as much of adulation and glory with your craft. But now, before we let you go, we're going to ask you a few quick questions to see how you do with these. I won't call them rapid fire, but just a
All
little
right.
personality based ones, right? Now, let's go with this one. One song you can't stop listening to lately.
One song I can't stop listening to lately, it's got to be this song by Dave Location.
Okay. One person you would love to collaborate with, one artist.
Dead or Alive?
Your favorite R&B classic.
I would say Justin Bieber is one of those people that I would really want to collaborate with.
Biggest guilty pleasure track.
Biggest guilty pleasure track. Oh, okay. Well, it's gotta be something by Doja Cat then. Man, her
Uh,
music's fire.
in terms of these industries, Bombay or LA?
In terms of industries, I'm working on both sides of the spectrum, so I have my feet on both. I have my grounding, yeah, my grounding, my base, everything is Bombay. And
Listen,
everything on top,
listen,
the cherry.
Pashwa, I know you come from Bombay. We're Indians. We can be great diplomats in ways we can, but this is about just choosing one. Bombay or LA in terms
Well,
of.
I'm in LA, aren't I?
Huh?
I'm in LA, aren't I?
Okay, so LA it
So
is.
yeah, it's
And
gotta be LA, man.
one place in the world where you love to perform,
Mumbai.
and one artist in the world who you would love to watch.
One artist I would love to watch live, definitely. I wish I could watch Michael Jackson perform live. I feel like he's one of the last of the performers. Jacob Collier is a great performer. His interaction with the crowd is fantastic, and he has a phenomenal sense of musicality. He's just gifted as a person, and um, yeah, it's a very creative way of doing performances, definitely.
And this is the final one. I know you're in the digital era, but let me just throw this out to you anyway. Digital music or analog music?
Uh, it's the sources, people are still emulating analog music to this day with digital music. People threw out their analog gear in the 70s and 80s, and by the 90s they were regretting it so much. And to this day, we haven't been able to find, the warmness of the tube. And yeah, digital, it has to be analog music all the way. I still have like vinyls of Michael Jackson records. I have like all of those vinyls still with me. And I keep going to the record stores over here. In fact, I made like really good friends at the record store, and we just sit back, show each other music, listen to like vinyls, think about samples, stuff like this. Yeah, definitely got to be uh
Would you
analog.
would you want to see you have a vinyl of your own one day?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's something that my fans should expect in the future. I'm definitely pressing physical copies. Me personally, I love to have memorabilia that, kind of is a part of the artist and they put so much of it into the art. So vinyl is fantastic. I'm a big fan and I see vinyl making a comeback since a long time. A lot of
I
the
hope for it to come back and come back in its
yeah,
full fledgedness because that sound, I think it's like an addiction. When you listen to it, you would know what a vinyl sounds like or a record player sounds like because there is nothing even close to how good that sound is and so warm. So that's as far as questions and chat goes, Pashwa. Now the next thing is we look
fantastic.
forward to the music coming by, and we can't wait to hear what else you can come by in the coming months, in the coming time that's ahead. So thank you so much for making time out and having a chat with us, man. I'm guessing
Thank
it's
you
like
so much
early.
for having me. Power to you guys. Keep putting artists on here. I love what you guys are doing. I'm grateful to be a part of this. And I really hope that you guys can create that platform that you really want to for independent artists because it's just the need of the hour. So shout out Bob's Radio.
Thanks, man.
Uh, this is where it is, man. This is the source.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to
Yeah.
hear positive thoughts coming in from any artist, for a matter of fact, and especially someone who's making waves in the right direction. So hopefully, we wish. I mean, this is what we wish for every artist. You know, you go out there, make the numbers, not just in terms of streams, but in terms of hearts that you can win, in terms of record sales that you can do, whatever that you want to achieve. We wish that you go out there and achieve it, and all the best for that.
I'm glad my city has my back. That's all I need.
The heartbeat of Bangalore.